A man spent 12 years and a fortune building a statue so tall that ships used it to navigate. 66 years later, an earthquake erased it completely. That man was Chares of Lindos. In 292 BCE, Rhodes, a young city-state on the edge of the Mediterranean, faced a choice. They just survived a brutal siege. Their walls held, their navy survived, and now they had leverage, wealth, reputation, and breathing room. Chares proposed something that would cement their status forever. A bronze statue of Helios, their patron god, so monumental it would tower over the harbor entrance. The cost: roughly 300 talents of bronze. In today's terms, we're talking somewhere north of $40 million. Here's where we need to think like Chares did. What did he know? He knew his city was fragile, knew vulnerable. He knew that power, real power, isn't just military, it's narrative, it's proof. A statue that tall would announce to every merchant ship, every rival state, every curious traveler, Rhodes exists. Rhodes persists. Rhodes matters, so he made a bet. Spend now, dominate the future. Construction took 12 years. 12 years of coordination, resource flow, engineering problems solved in real time, workers dying, budgets overrunning. By 280 BCE, it stood finished. Roughly 110 feet tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty's torch. Bronze skin, iron framework, visible from miles out to sea. For 66 years, it worked exactly as intended. Ships navigated by it. Merchants talked about it. Pilgrims came to see it. Then around 226 BCE, an earthquake hit. Not a tremor, a rupture. The statue snapped at the knees. Its torso fell into the harbor, and there it lay, a bronze corpse in shallow water for the next 900 years. Nobody rebuilt it. The Rhodians didn't have the resources. The world had moved on. What had cost a fortune and a decade to build lasted less than a human lifetime. But here's what matters: Chares didn't fail. He succeeded perfectly. He made a rational decision under pressure with incomplete information. His city needed a symbol. He built one. It worked for 66 years, longer than most modern corporations last. He couldn't have predicted the earthquake. No engineer can. What he could control was the bet itself, the cost-benefit calculation he made at the moment of choice. This is where the Stoics enter. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus both grappled with the same problem: how do we act decisively when the future is unknowable? Their answer was radical. You don't control outcomes. You control effort. You control intention. You control whether you made the best decision available with what you knew. Chares faced three real options. Option 1, do nothing, stay invisible, preserve resources for defense. Option 2, build something modest, cheaper, safer, forgettable. Option 3, build the Colossus, spend the fortune, take the risk, bet that the payoff in prestige would outweigh the cost. He chose 3. Was it the right choice? For 66 years, absolutely. For the centuries after, that's not his problem to solve. Modern ambition works the same way. You're building something, a career, a business, a skill set. You spend resources, time, money, reputation. You make the best calculation you can, then you execute. But somewhere down the road, an earthquake hits, a market crashes, a technology shifts, a competitor emerges, the structure falls, and suddenly everyone asks, why did you build it? Why did you try? The Stoic answer is clear: because the attempt itself had value, because 66 years of impact matters, because you made a sound decision with available information, because you don't control earthquakes, you control whether you tried. But there's a second lesson buried in those ruins. Chares built something permanent looking. It wasn't. Nothing is. The Rhodians invested as if it would last forever. It lasted 66 years. Your career, your company, your reputation, same mathematics. You're not building forever. You're building for the time that matters, knowing the time will end. This reframe changes everything. You stop asking, will this last forever? And start asking, will this matter while it stands? You stop building for eternity and start building for impact. The Colossus mattered. It guided ships. It impressed visitors. It gave Rhodes 70 years of prestige and trade advantage. Then it fell, but those 70 years were real. Your work is the same. Your project doesn't need to last forever. It needs to matter now. Your business doesn't need to be immortal. It needs to create value for the years it operates. Your reputation doesn't need to survive 5 centuries. It needs to hold steady long enough to matter to the people you're serving today. The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote that the length of life matters far less than the quality of life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he could die today, not to paralyze him, but to clarify him. What matters now? What has weight? What deserves effort? The Colossus answers, something that stands tall and serves a purpose, even if only for decades. But the final lesson is the hardest. Chares built the Colossus knowing, or at least suspecting, that it might not last. He lived on an island in an earthquake zone. He wasn't naive. He built anyway. That's not recklessness. That's courage. That's the decision to act boldly despite knowing the future is fragile. So the question becomes, are you living like Chares or are you paralyzed? Are you building because it matters now, or are you waiting for guarantees that will never come? The earthquake will come. The market will shift. The technology will change. The timeline will end. The question isn't whether your structure will fall. It's whether you'll build it anyway. That's what the Colossus teaches, not that ambition is foolish, not that you should fear failure, but that the true measure of a project isn't its permanence, it's its impact while it stands. Chares spent a fortune and 12 years. The statue fell after 66. By raw numbers, that looks like waste, but Rhodes prospered, merchants came, the city grew strong, the investment paid in ways that mattered. So when you're standing at your own decision point, spend the time, take the risk, build the thing, remember Chares. He didn't build for forever, he built for now, and now was enough. If you're ready to build boldly despite uncertainty, subscribe. Each week, we uncover how ancient thinkers solved the problems you're facing right now.